Welcome to Scream Queens Horror Movie Road Trip Podcast. I am your soul survivor, Mr. Josh, and that over there screaming her head off is our final girl, Miss Justine.
That over there.
That over there.
Yep, here I am, that over there. Welcome to our little road trip podcast.
We are heading down to Aurora, Texas today.
Yes.
And the reason we're doing that is because we're going to go to a cemetery. We're going to the Aurora Cemetery.
We're heading to the cemetery today, and the reason why we're going to a cemetery, you might think, well, why in the world would the Scream Queens Horror Movie Road Trip podcast be heading down to Texas to go to a cemetery?
That's exceptionally morbid.
How interesting.
Just as we like it. But we'll tell you what we're doing. We're going alien hunting. We are going to the site of one of the first, what would you say, published, accounted?
Yeah, because there is newspaper clippings regarding this.
It's one of the first known alien crashes in ufology.
Oh, yes.
That is
Ufology?
the ology of UFOs.
Yes, it is the study of UFOs,
Yes.
ology. We're going to go and see this. This is where the little town is. It crashed in Aurora, Texas, on a prospector's land. It hit his windmill and knocked it clean over on. Oh, Josh, you.
Pardon me. It was so rude. It wasn't me, it was my food.
Like, wow.
Hi.
We did just have to do like a little.
We're going through some road work.
Road construction.
Pardon the construction.
Golly, my daddy works.
Well, you better get out of the fucking road.
Yeah, because
kid.
we're going 75 now, 75. Okay, so we're going to the cemetery, though, because when the UFO crashed, because these people reported it, and I'm going to choose to believe them, that that they found a body, a humanoid body, but it wasn't from this planet, and it was very disfigured and kind of charred up.
And very much dead.
It was not in the living realm anymore, and so they did what good Texans do, gave it a proper Christian burial.
You gotta give it that Christian burial.
Tip their hats, toss the dirt.
Say amen.
Yep. They like just...
Slap each other's asses.
So I was thinking, should I go balls? Like they grab each other's balls, or
Cup
should
each
I go
other's
with
nuts,
It's like,
slap each
what
other's
am I going to
asses.
go with?
Get
Instead,
out
I
of
just
there.
stuttered. Okay, so balls and nuts grabbing happens, and then they just head back. And so we've had over 100 years now of lore. If it's
there's
an
been-
alien, there's...
Yeah, what is it? What is buried in the Aurora Cemetery?
What was that? What was it there that crashed?
What if it was like some guy experimenting with flying before, like Frank Lloyd Wright and his brother? Or was it
Yes.
Frank and Lloyd Wright? I forgot. We just went there last summer or last fall.
Yeah, we were just there at Kitty Hawk.
Anyways, it was the Wright brothers.
The Wright brothers.
What if it was like the early predecessors of the Wright brothers, and he was just flying on his like hang glider, and fucking prospector Jim Bob
the Prospector.
knocks him down and then gives him a Christian burial.
That windmill too.
Yeah, crash into a windmill.
So I also had a thought. You know, you're thinking maybe it's a guy on a hang glider. I'm not sure when those were invented
I don't
and
know.
stuff.
I'm just saying maybe someone really
Maybe some.
invented
I
flying
thought it
before
was
the Wright
a
brothers.
javelin throw. I was convinced that it was like,
Oh.
you know, somebody who just tossed someone real, you know, it's like.
Wow. Oh, they tossed somebody.
They tossed
not
somebody.
Just a javelin.
No, they tossed somebody,
Wow.
and they just javelin through them, and they collided in the windmill.
You know what, Justine? You are onto something. You need to write this and send it to MUFON.
Okay.
That's the Mutual UFO Network.
I love it.
Let
Move
them
on
know
you.
your theory. I think it's a fucking person
I
javelin.
took it a little like Matilda and was like, all you need is for yourself to have a little principal. I forget that principal's name.
boy.
And
Oh,
so
boy.
maybe there was someone like that who was just practicing and said, let me ball you up and put you like in a little box. I'll javelin throw you. Threw him into the next town.
And people just didn't know
And
what to
people
think.
didn't- Yeah.
They said
Okay.
it's a cigar-shaped UFO, flying
Yes.
saucer.
It was a
I
little
guess not flying saucer, it's a
torpedo.
flying cigar that
Yeah,
you were
it
saying.
was a little torpedo of some sorts. Now, granted, the town had been reporting for weeks before that they were seeing UFO,
Lights in the
unidentified
skies.
flying objects. There were lights that were in the sky. It was at night. They weren't stars. These people weren't idiots. They were very much used to the night sky and would have known if there was a star moving about or if it was like a light flying in the sky. I love it whenever people are just like, oh, well, was it just this? You're like, no, Karen, it wasn't just that.
You don't even know. But, so here we are. We're on our way down to Aurora, Texas. We're going to find the grave there. Apparently, it's like a grave marker for it. I read it had been stolen at one point. Don't know if it's back. We'll see. But you know what? We're going to go pay our respects, tip our hats.
To Ned. They named him Ned.
Ned. We're going to go pay our respects to Ned. We're going to tip our hats. We're going to slap each other's asses, cup each other's balls. Like I said, pay our respects and get out of there.
Okay.
But all along the way, we're going to talk to you about Ridley Scott's 1979 masterpiece, Alien.
Masterpiece?
A masterpiece.
Watch your mouth. We can't do this entire podcast where you're just slipping in
I know.
little nuanced naughties.
I'm nasty. A little nuanced naughty.
Okay. Not you addressed it. 1979. That's what we're working with. Ridley Scott. You said that's who directed it.
Originally titled Star Beast.
Best.
Star Beast. Star Piss.
Star Piss. So we've got writer Dan O'Bannon.
I just love saying that name. Dan O'Bannon.
I am Dan O'Bannon.
I am Dan O'Bannon.
Sigourney Weaver, giving her all, giving her best. Siggy.
Oh my God, Mama Siggy.
Siggy Wibby.
She loves, she's weaving those cigs. Sigourney's, I don't know. It didn't work.
A hottie hot Tom Skerritt.
Daddy Skerritt.
Like, hey there, pre-daddy of Julia Roberts in
what movie?
It's
Still Magnolias. And also the daddy of Juliette Lewis and The Other Sister.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Thanks for making that connection.
But here we are with Daddy Skerritt.
So,
you know what they say? The one you call your daddy ain't your pa.
That's right. Okay. And then we got John Hurt. It's a very star-studded cast. That's what I was getting at. I just started naming people up, but
Veronica Cartwright.
Hello, Cartwright. Cart left and cart right, girl.
She's carting it left. She's carting it right.
Yeah. What if her cart center? She stays in the
cart neutral. I'm Veronica Cart neutral.
Is she cart right or cart wrong?
If you can't cart right, it must be cart wrong.
Oh my God. Oh, Harry Dean Stanton.
Oh,
Daddy.
We love Harry Dean Stanton. He's more like Pawpaw. Pawpaw Stanton.
Oh, well, maybe for you.
Oh, you
trying
to get down with
at
Harry
a time
Dean?
there was a Daddy Stanton. Okay.
I don't know. He's always seemed rather homeless to me, but
wow.
Or not. I'm not attracted to
there you go.
He's Pawpaw.
Yeah. Pawpaw Stanton for
Stanton.
Joshy.
Daddy for Justine.
Okay, Ian Holm.
Bilbo.
Yeah.
Or not Bilbo. Yeah.
Bilbo dildo,
Bilbo.
yeah.
You're on a roll today, final girl.
I don't know. Okay, should we get into it?
No, let's not talk about the movie.
Not
bitch.
at all. That we were talking about just like right before the whole origination of the xenomorph,
Yes,
the idea, the
great,
brainchild.
The great character design of the xenomorph was by H.R. Geiger, famous Swiss artist who does these really detailed, elaborate drawings and paintings and charcoals. I'm supposing all kinds of mediums.
Yeah.
But he does these really like dark but very elegant worlds. Like I said, very detailed. And he had, what was the exhibition called? The Necronom 4.
Yes, Necronom 4.
Was it a book? Like a series, like in a book, or was it like in a gallery? I'm not quite sure that detail. But that is kind of where they saw and got their inspiration for the xenomorph. And they actually had Geiger come and help
give even more.
Give more advice, help flesh out the character design, and
flesh out the flesh.
Even a lot of the alien scenes, they fleshed it.
They fleshed it.
Yeah, they fleshed it. Yeah, but he does a lot of any of the alien world stuff, especially when they're fighting the eggs. A lot of that was Geiger. Xenomorph Geiger. Hey, Geiger.
Hey there. Okay, well, now we know where it's all coming from, who's all in it, where it all been. Let's just start it. We got opening, we got credits starting, the title Alien. There's big planet.
Yeah.
With rings around it. Musical introduction. We see this big, huge, monstrous-sized spacecraft, and it's obviously not our world. We're not coming upon Earth. The spaceship isn't, but it's coming on a
definitely in
planet.
outer space, and we're kind of introduced with a credit saying this is the Nostromo, and it is carrying 200 million pounds of ore back to Earth. So essentially, we're learning that these characters are truckers. They're on a big industrial spacecraft that is taking ore back to Earth from a planet. And,
yeah.
When we're introduced to the characters, they're all waking up. They're like, "Good morning. My pod is opening. Is your pod opening?"
It is a really neat scene. It's all quiet, again, that's we get that a lot too, how quiet the movie can be, and again, how space is very quiet. And even the poster says no one can hear you screaming in space.
And that kind of shows with the opening credits, it's this slow morph into the title itself. You're just getting lines of the word alien, and you're like, I wonder what this is going to spell. I did come to see a movie called Alien. I wonder if that's what it's spelling. But it's taking its time, and the whole movie takes its time, and you get that right in the opening credits. And this movie's not a slow burn in any way, but it definitely does a great job of setting up the dynamic between all the workers on the Nostromo. That's the name of the ship they're on.
And you start gathering the idea that although they might be they might be astronauts of some sort, they're not all necessarily scientists. They're not all there, they're not on a scientific journey. They went to go collect stuff and bring it back. They're even all discussing after they wake up what kind of shares they want from their recent haul.
And you get a good idea of what everybody's job is and what they're kind of there for. You understand Dallas is kind of the captain of the ship. You get the sense that Ripley's second command, because a lot of the time he's always calling for Ripley.
Yeah.
Dallas, when he needs something, he's like, Ripley, meet me in the brig, or Ripley, he turns to Ripley a lot, so you get that she's in a higher position. You get that there's a couple guys there, they're just kind of the grunts, there to do
kind
a lot
of mechanics.
do the heavy lifting, the wrench and hammer type work.
Mm-hmm. But everybody does definitely have a job that they're there to do, and Ash is the science officer.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be a lot that happens that gets deferred to him, and for one reason or another, it's simply because he's the science guy.
And these aren't fancy NASA spaceships. I mean, we're well into the future, and these are huge brigs. Like I said, these are space truckers. It's very industrial and factory oriented, and the design work on the interior and exterior is just, it's gorgeous in a really rugged, chains, and everything seems very wet, and I keep using the word industrial because that's the best way to describe it.
It's where there are parts that I can see the inspiration of 2001 coming from. I also see a lot of if you've ever seen out in the middle of the ocean, those big oil rigs that will be set up, and how they're all interlocking, and but they're greasy. They're obviously they're serving a purpose, and so it's not beautiful always like 2001, where the spacecraft is. It's for travelers. It
definitely has that that mixture of 2001 mixed with that 70s aesthetic of filmmaking, where everything's back to basics and gritty and deconstructing the genre, so to speak. This isn't Flash Gordon or the old 50s, 60s sci-fi, really, where people are wearing capes and stuff in space. Like, these are people in overalls and jumpsuits. And,
this is their job.
Yeah, this is their job. They're just there to make some money. They didn't grow up with dreams of space, like, as like a glorified job to have.
Yeah. And, okay, so we've got Lambert, played by Veronica Cartwright, and she deduces, like, this is her job, like, that she's always trying to figure out what galaxy they're in, solar system, and things like that, and she's kind of the coordinates person, and so she's letting everybody know we landed way off course.
Yeah, something's up.
We've been awoken, and everybody was kind of like, this doesn't feel right.
Why are
we
we
been
awake?
awoken?
Yeah.
And so Dallas, being the captain, he gets a report from, we learn that kind of just like in 2001 where the ship has a system that speaks, they also do, and it's called Mother. And
Mother!
So Mother is giving information to Dallas at the same time that Ripley is trying to get a message to the Antarctica space system, like
which I like that. In the future, there's like a big space program and space station in Antarctica. It's not in Houston.
No,
we've moved down to Antarctica.
We need a lot more space because you see
Yeah.
these spacecrafts are humongous. I even, like, looking at them, just kept thinking about, like, how much, when you see, like, the space shuttles and they're shooting off into space, and you see how much heat has to be created to just get a rocket up there.
And I wonder, too, if some of these spaceships, like, if, they're like the mothership, if they just hover above the Earth, maybe they were built in outer space.
Yeah.
They send smaller ships down to Earth.
And that is the case, too, for this spacecraft that we're talking about, because there'll be times where they detach from parts of it and go to the planet. But so they're all figuring out what's happening. It's basically what I'm saying. There's one person getting the 411 from the computer that's on the spacecraft, like, why did you wake us up? Veronica Cartwright's character is trying to figure out where they are in space, and Ripley's trying to get a message home, like, we've been awoken, but we're way off course. Can anybody help us?
I love when Dallas, aka Daddy Scarrett, is in, like, the room talking to Mother, that it looks like a room that's, like, made up of light brights.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like white paneled light brights.
And there's just, like, little switches literally everywhere.
I mean, it looks awesome, but that's what my mind thinks of every time. It's like, it's like
if you were in a light bright room.
Room filled with light brights all around you.
That's also giving our generation away.
They still have light brights.
They do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know my nephew has one.
Oh, well, yeah, that's right. But nostalgia.
It's nostalgia.
Okay, so Mother's going to give information. Mother has intercepted a transmission, and although she doesn't understand the transmission, it's been deduced by the team that it must be like an SOS beacon coming from this big planet that they can now see.
Mother's like, hey, hold up. We're getting a signal, and by law or code of craft, you got to go check it out, because it sounds like there might be people or something living that you need to go help out.
Yeah, so the ship awoke them because of a clause in the contract that if there's life forms, you gotta check it out. And Ash, the science officer,
he's all about it.
Is making sure. And we can tell that, like, Ash also has different kind of computer controls of the spacecraft, and he doesn't necessarily report to everyone, and that's going to be problematic. That Ash doesn't necessarily have to tell everybody what he's doing and why he's doing stuff.
No.
Okay, so they approach.
Oh, and let me say, we will be discussing the theatrical version, just FYI.
Yeah.
We're not doing the director's cut. The director's cut's very similar, but they take out some scenes, add a few little things here and there. Director's cut's actually a minute shorter. But we are discussing the theatrical version.
The theatrical. So here we are. We're approaching the planet, and they're like getting in the planet's orbit, and that's cool. I like all of the space stuff when you can tell it's miniatures and how they're like turning it.
Paintings. And, yeah,
yes.
It looks great, though. And this planet is so dark and foggy and just downright scary. Like
it's very windy.
Doesn't seem hospitable. It's not where you want to go, like, check out an SOS. So it's already building tension in that way that you're thinking, like, oh, they had to, of course, go to the darkest, dankest, creepiest planet.
And it looks really big. It has multiple rings that surround it, and it has, like, all these other, like, moons that are orbiting it. So it just looks daunting.
And they come upon, like, when they land, there's a huge crashed spaceship.
Yes.
That you later see in Prometheus also. It looks like the spaceships in Prometheus.
Because this is... Prometheus is the prequel.
Is the prequel. And you're like, oh, that's the Prometheus.
That's the Prometheus. So if you're watching it now, you kind of know everything that happened. But if you watch them in order now, it would have been Prometheus, Alien Covenant. And
I know Prometheus is like a love or hate it movie, but I'm in pro-love for Prometheus.
Yeah.
We saw it like IMAX, 3D, and it was like a great movie experience.
Yeah.
And we saw it together.
We did. We were like...
With my sister Katie. Shout out, Katie.
Hi, girl. Remember when we went and saw Prometheus?
Do you remember that?
That was so much fun. Okay, so they're thinking, okay, this must be the ship that's sending the SOS to us. You know, like the coordinates must be coming from this little...
It's got to be it. Here's a crashed ship.
A distress signal. And when they decide to send, like, a team... Because when they land, they don't land gracefully. So something busts in their pressure system, and they're going to be stuck there for like 25 hours. They bust it for sure. And so they're like, well, I guess we'll go ahead and get out and take a little adventure over there to that spacecraft and see what's up, since we're going to be here for basically a day. And it's like really, really windy, rocky outside. It's not hospitable at all, like you said.
Downright scary.
And they, instead of like, oh, here's this space, so they find the spacecraft, and it's a U-shaped, large spacecraft.
It's really big, guys.
And the hallways are ginormous, like really tall. Like, a large person would have to be walking down these hallways.
They'd have to be the big.
And they also notice that the spacecraft looks almost like it's an organism itself. Like it has a bone-like structure.
Yes, it's like ribbed for your pleasure.
For your pleasure.
It's like, and it looks very black, like rubbery. It's like this black leather,
covered
black
slimy.
rubber, very slimy. Like I said, it is like ribbed. The inside lining's all like ribbed and dark, and has cords and things that almost look organic.
Like if you could see what a snake's like skeleton looks like, it kind of reminds me of that, like where it's ripped, you know, all the way around. And
this is the stuff that Geiger helped design.
It's fleshy looking, and it just like it looks organic. It looks like an organism itself.
And later, once you see the movie and start seeing glimpses of the alien, and then watching it on repeat, you're like, oh, the inside of the ship looks like the alien.
Yeah. So we get this symbioticness from it. Like, okay, they must all kind of intrinsically work together. They start investigating even more. I mean, I'm not quite sure they're really following like scientific protocol. Like, you just like, if it's the first time that we're ever finding a sign of life outside of ourselves, like we found a spacecraft, to me that would be enough. I'd be like, okay, well, looks like we're not the only people out there.
Maybe they're like, oh, this ship, it's the Russians.
I wish they would have said that or something. That would have made so much sense. But just to think that they're like, oh, okay, first sign of life, a big ass spacecraft. Let's go look.
Let's go inside, guys. Let's check it out. What's the worst that could happen?
They get into
face huggers. That's really the worst that could happen.
Balmy. They keep talking about how it's like really like everybody's like, oh, it's so hot in here. Well, it's
very moist.
Find a platform that they crawl up on, but the platform is actually like the cockpit of the spacecraft, and they're standing next to this gigantic
dead
skeleton.
body. I'm like, dead body. And it doesn't look quite human. It looks like a monster.
Yeah, it's humanoid-ish. It does look like it has some types of arms and
eyes
legs,
whatnot,
and it has like this apparatus that's almost melded to its face. But they are also talking about how its ribs are out, like it looks like something had jumped out of its chest.
Yeah. So, and I almost wonder if that's one of the face huggers, like chest breaker.
Oh, for sure.
Alien. Yeah.
I think so too, because I think just like what Prometheus shares with us is that those are aliens as well to that planet.
Yeah.
That spacecraft doesn't belong to that planet also. And this planet is the xenomorphs, and they are in these little eggies.
And I get the sense that the xenomorphs have really taken over that planet, perhaps, or like they've kind of destroyed it in a sense. Because when you see it in Prometheus, and I know this is something like, of course, Ridley Scott had 30 years to come up with this, but in hindsight, it almost feels like in Prometheus everything's a little more brightly lit on that planet. But now in Alien, everything is very dark and cloudy, and I wonder if that was intentional.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yes.
We're inside the spacecraft, and now we're like, okay, this other alien that's dead is humongous. Must be giant, like a kind of what we would probably think is a giant.
It's a giant, yeah. She's like, it's definitely the Russians.
It's definitely the Russians now. So they're looking at him and Kane, the John Hurt, who's playing Kane. So he decides, I'm going to go down the opposite way, because how the spacecraft is tilted, one wing of it is higher than the other. So he's wanting to go down basically the other part of the hallway, but he's having to descend down it.
And he does it.
And there are all thousands of these eggs.
They're huge. They don't look like a chicken egg or even an ostrich egg. They're even bigger, and they're leathery. They look like they're pursed, puckered at the top.
Slimy. They're translucent because he can see inside them, and he sees the face. He sees the face hugger in there, but it's all it's snake-like. The tail is all wrapped up. Looks like an umbilical cord, and he's definitely saying,
it's like there's organic life. Something's alive in here.
An organism. But he can't stop there. Again, why do they just not stop?
And he kind of touches it, and then it opens up, and he's like, this is interesting. I'm going to look right inside. Granted, he is wearing a helmet, but that doesn't stop this thing from jumping up at him and giving us our first major jump scare of the movie.
And it's the face hugger jump scare. We get, we just saw Popo pulling somebody over. That's
Popo
what we saw.
Pissed.
Speaking of a face hugger. So I don't know. Okay, so we get our jump scare. So the face hugger looks like a mixture of a spider with tons of legs that wrap around the face part.
Yeah.
And then it has this very long tail. It kind of reminds me of monkeys when they wrap their tails around tree limbs, how it works like that, or a snake. And that one latches itself around the neck.
Around his neck. Around his neck.
Yeah.
I'm mixing the word snake and neck together. Around his neck.
And next thing we see is the Ian Holm character. He's watching outside the window, and he sees Lambert and Dallas pulling Kane's body, approaching what looks to be kind of their airlock.
And Ripley keeps telling you cannot let them back in. We have quarantine procedures. They cannot bring him into the ship. And
sorry, guys.
There's a big disagreement of we're just gonna let him die out here. And Ripley's like, sorry, you can contaminate the ship. It's gonna be worse if it could be worse.
She's being reasonable.
Losing one person versus the whole ship is what she's basically
trying
arguing.
To tell them, guys, we have to fall back on protocol. I am not trying to say that Kane isn't worth saving, but he's going to have to stay outside for 24 hours. Well, Ash, and what I love is how come there's just a button right there that we can just push and
he just
override
overrides her decision, just presses the button, lets him in. He's like, oops, sorry, letting him in. And she corners him later about it. And is like, why did you do that? Why you're fucking shit up for us.
Well,
dude.
yeah, she's like pulling rank on him and saying like, you're the science officer. Why did you do that? And he's like, oh, I just kind of forgot that like when Dallas is off the ship that you're in charge, so I forgot to listen to you and I listened to him. And she doesn't believe him.
Yeah, she's basically like, you're putting the integrity of the ship at jeopardy.
Yeah. But we're getting ahead of ourselves with that conversation. So they bring him in and they take him to the infirmary and they take his helmet off and now we get to see in full effect the face hugger.
And the face hugger did this weird thing, like had filled up the whole mask with like, they have to like kind of saw through and break open this like, I don't even know what it is. It's like this gel-like formation over it. It's just gross. The layers of just ooey gooiness and the detail they go in with this alien is just adds so much to the atmosphere and to the design.
And a lot of it keeps being brought up about like this must be a different defense mechanism. This organism keeps replicating itself, and as it's even kind of morphing, it keeps trying to make itself into an indestructible predator.
And they're doing like x-rays and they see that it has like an air tube going down his mouth. They think just breathing for him.
Yeah.
But we know, we'll find out later it's doing more than that.
Yeah, they're like, okay, we get it. It's some kind of parasite, what's happening. But how do we get it off of him? And Dallas and Ash are the ones that are like going to perform the procedure. They decide to cut off one of the spider fingers.
So gross.
And it doesn't allow it. It ejects, the spider finger ejects out some kind of like acid
blood.
And it immediately starts eroding the ship.
This is a really cool scene because they're going like, they keep going
level by
level, trying to catch this liquid, and it keeps burning through level after level of the ship, and they keep going further. It probably goes through what, like 2 or 3 levels.
Yeah, and luckily it doesn't keep going, or I mean, it could have compromised. The whole entire integrity of the.
And that's where they discuss like, oh, well, this has got to be its blood. It's a great defense mechanism.
Not gonna allow us to remove itself, so what are we gonna do?
So I guess we have to wait it out and see.
And they decide at all costs, what we could do is we could cryo freeze Kane with the face hugger on him, and we could get him home at least and see if he could survive that way.
But in the middle of the night, is it Dallas that gets the call first? That says like, you need to come to the brig right away.
Yeah, it's him and Ripley.
And then
get the call.
Yeah, that's when he calls Ripley. He's like, Ripley, meet me up there.
And the face hugger is gone. But Kane is alive. He's like breathing on his own, but he's still in like a coma. And we have Ash and Dallas and Ripley trying to find it inside the little infirmary.
Oh, they're gonna find it. It's gonna be found. It's gonna let itself be found on Ripley's back.
Yeah, it falls from up above. Obviously, it had. Well, they don't know why.
Maybe crawled away to die somewhere, and then it like kind of falls on her in its last like little.
But they get to look at it a little bit, and they can again deduce from having a little bit of a
deduce.
Yeah, you like when I drop a deuce?
I love when you drop a deduce.
That it's dead, but they don't know why it died. And
guys, I can tell by looking at it it's dead, but I don't know why.
I don't know why. And Ash is like, well, I guess we're gonna have to save it and take it home with us. And Ripley's like, no,
get it off the ship.
We can't do that. We gotta throw it out the airlock. And Daddy Dallas is like, let's take it with us.
Yeah, it's like, let's do what Ash says to do. And Ash is like, keep it. Ash is like, keep it. We want it. And what's fun on like repeated viewings is seeing all the shadiness of Ash that you don't notice the first time. You'll find out later why he's being shady. Shady. But then now he wakes up. William Hurt, the Elephant Man, wakes up.
Yeah, and he's hungry. And everybody's happy. They're all like, yay!
Let's go celebrate. Let's go feed you, boo.
We're all gonna have to go and cryo
like,
sleep.
You gave us a scare. Let's go eat.
They're eating, and Veronica Cartwright's character, Lambert, tells them, like, okay, it's gonna take us 10 months to get home, so we're gonna have to
go to sleep.
So they have themselves one last eats. And John Hurt, though, he just has one last...
Yeah, I mean, and everything seems normal for a minute. They're all, like, shooting the shit, eating, talking, laughing, and then all of a sudden, like, in the middle of, like, laughing at a joke, John Hurt's character, is it Kane?
Yeah, Kane just kind of starts choking.
He starts choking. At first, they're like, oh, you okay? You choking, man? And then he's, like, really choking. They're like, oh, you're choke.
He collapses on the dinner table, and then we get a very iconic scene.
It's almost like 2 jump scares in one.
Yes.
It's like you get the initial burst where there's like a spray of blood all of a sudden, and the whole cast looks confused because apparently they didn't know what was going to happen. They knew, which is weird because on all the things I've read about it, one of the biggest selling points to this movie was the chest burst scene. That's what got this movie sold. So I can't believe that they didn't read about it in the script. Maybe they didn't know when it was going to happen or something. But apparently...
Or how it was going to look.
Or how it was going to look. But apparently the first time it actually, like, their genuine shock is what is filmed. Like, they didn't know they were about to be scared right then. But like I said, I'm not sure if that's just lore.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, that was a well-known part of the script. Because it's what's got the movie sold. So, I don't know.
And we get 2 kind of chest bursts. The first one is like that initial...
Like, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Nipple pop. Like,
yeah.
But there's still more you gotta squeeze out, you know?
The chest breaking scene happens next, and the xenomorph, the alien, has again, I mean, and I guess that's why it's called the xenomorph, because it does keep changing. It's almost like a butterfly.
Yeah, or a reptile that keeps shedding its skin, because they find the skin.
Yes, later. But it's, again, like, the first it was the face hugger who dropped its seed into...
Oh, God.
The Kane character.
You just got nasty and explicit talking about dropping seed.
Oh
my God.
From a tube.
Oh my God.
Tubey seedy.
Tubey seedy.
Tubey seedy.
Wow.
Seedy tubey. Yeah, that is gross when you think about it, but okay, it comes out of his chest and then it scurries off. It scares everybody.
And what is so effective about this scene is that it looks so nasty and real, and nowadays it would be done with CGI, probably.
But when it's all sitting in the tummy.
Oh, and how you can see it kind of pushing up against its chest for a split second before it actually bursts through.
Yes.
And John Hurt is such a great actor that he really sells that moment of being in so much pain and being so confused. He's going from celebrating to all of a sudden confusion to being like really scared because something's going on with his body. It's like a real moment of like body horror. And then, Bert, he has that initial pop that kind of like paralyzes him for a second. And then he keeps convulsing, and then it pops through the chest, and then he's still shaking. Yeah,
he's giving those last bits of shock, like when your body's in such
your
tremendous,
nerves are still
like your
flaring, maybe,
muscles are, you're dead, but maybe you've still got some
little life in you.
It's so sad too, because you love it. Like, I mean, you can tell all these characters really cared about him and wanted to make sure he was okay and that they worked together as a team. But in the alien, inside his stomach kind of uncoils. It's this weird snake mix.
Penis, like a snake penis.
It has this head on it that has these silver-like teeth.
Ugh.
And it's all like...
And then it just like flies off the table.
Yeah, it scurries right out. You can tell the tail is really long, and it's just this monstrous little skittering across the...
And I gotta say too, not only John Hurt is really great in the scene, all the other actors do a good job of selling it, and I don't know if it's because they were really surprised or if they were just really great at acting surprised. And especially Veronica Cartwright in that moment looks so freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, and she's kind
of crying.
Having this like revulse.
I like her a lot.
Yeah, she does a really good job in this movie. Everybody does. It's such a well-acted movie. Every performance is very just well-delivered.
Yes.
These people are professionals on the screen, Josh. Don't know if you know that.
They're professionals.
They're professionals.
And sometimes people just say pros. They're pros.
Some people, but not me.
Some people say that.
Some people, but not me, say that. Well, the creature's gone, and now they're like, uh-oh, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
There's an alien loose on
And here's where we get to kind of like our main plot of the movie is like, now we got to get this fucking alien off the ship, and they're trying to figure out how to find it.
Yeah, because they are like, okay, it's scurrying around in the air ducts. And by this time, they've gotten off the planet.
Yeah, they've already left.
And they're joined up again with their much larger mothership, so it could be anywhere at this point.
Mm-hmm.
They've got so much space to look through.
And poor Papa Harry Dean's going to be the first one to find them.
Yeah, they all go in search of it, and they kind of break off into teams, and we get another good jump scare, but it's just the cat that's on board. They have a cat named Jones.
Who is a perfect little ginger cat.
The most beautiful little baby angel on the screen. That cat is dead, though, now, because this movie came out in 1979.
R.I.P.
Jonesy. We love you. And they have to like fix the ship, so there's a lot of shit going on. They're trying to find an alien, trying to fix the ship, trying to get back to their planet, which is Earth.
And Harry Dean Stanton first finds the shed skin. I'm like, try saying that 3 times fast.
The shedded foreskin?
The shed foreskin.
Because you said it looked like a penis.
They had a brisk.
Oh my gosh, does this mean later they're going to have a bar mitzvah?
Yes. The xenomorph will get bar mitzvah.
Oh gosh, yeah. Harry Dean Stanton. His name is Brett in the movie. And he's such a funny little character. He has a moment with Ripley where he keeps telling everybody the word right, over and over. He's just agreeable. He's just an agreeable little fella. And Ripley is super annoyed because everybody just seems to be following along with what Ash wants to do. She's the only one that can kind of pick up on his duplicitousness.
It's definitely one of those things, and I think Ridley Scott's trying to make that point of like, they're not listening to her, one, because she's a woman, too.
Yes.
If it was Dallas saying no, we're not. Everyone would be, oh, okay, he's the captain. I get it. She's not the captain, but she seems to have some kind of power on this ship.
On this ship.
On the ship.
On this ship.
But yeah, Harry Dean Stanton. Isn't he trying to say Jonesy?
Yeah. Well, they're all trying to find. Well, at least Sigourney Weaver and Parker. So the mechanics and Ripley are looking for the cat.
Because they hear it meowing over like the PA system,
yes,
right, or something.
And so they're all trying to look for him, and Harry Dean Stanton finds not only the foreskin, the shedded foreskin, he does find the cat, but the cat also can see that. So he's gone into this like holding area for like a lot of the mechanical equipment, like the struts and the big devices that they use.
And you can tell there's a lot of like cooling systems going on because there's a lot of moisture, a lot of like dripping pipes.
Yeah, a lot of wet running water that you can tell has to be running to keep the overheating happening. But that's also where the xenomorph is.
And this doesn't seem to be like a friendly little alien like Ned that we're about to go visit in Aurora.
No, I don't think so.
This xenomorph is mean.
Yeah.
He's not cute and cuddly like Alf or E.T.
Not at all. And he's gotten bigger, so he keeps growing at an exponential rate. So when he sees Harry Dean Stanton, although again, this movie does an excellent job of it's not revealing the creature in its entirety yet. It kind of just shows you a little bit of the monster. Little by little, it'll show you what it's capable of. You'll see how tall it will be, but when we see it with the Harry Dean Stanton, it's a lot of like shadow, and we do get to see the upfront face.
Yeah, he's still being shy. He's a little shy. He doesn't want to show off yet.
Oh, camera shy.
He's probably in like xenomorph puberty, so he's a little titty, and his voice is changing.
Constantly getting a Woody.
He's always popping a boner.
Oh no!
So he's like, I'm just gonna stay in the shadow. I'm a little wallflower, but I'm hungry, so I'm gonna come eat you.
But I'm hungry.
And he's like, I'm gonna show you my nasty silver teeth that are like dripping acid saliva or something.
Dripping acid saliva. Do you think Harry Dean Stanton just decided to trip acid on
I think
that
Harry Dean
acid?
Stanton has definitely done some xenomorph acid.
Acid.
Yeah.
Well, we will never know because we don't get to ask him
R.I.P.
that.
Papa
He
Stan.
dies. And we also don't, it's not an overtly bloody movie. Sure, we get the chest popping scene, and that in itself is
And sometimes
gory,
you get like a
but
split second of like the xenomorph's like second mouth coming out and like hitting some tissue.
Yeah.
Like you might see a split second of something, but yeah, it's really not bloody
we
at
don't
all.
see like it pulling in, grabbing maybe like some sinew and pulling it out, and just there's not too much gore. I don't find it unnecessary. I like it a lot. It's not bloody as much as it's like insinuating how bloody it is. But we do know that he dies because we do see we get some blood.
And can I mention the real star of this movie?
Oh my God, have we left him out?
It's the beautifully masculine PE teacher haircut that Sigourney Weaver has in this movie.
Stop it.
I love it. It adds so much to her character. It would almost not be the same movie if she didn't have that hair.
Is it iconic?
It's iconic.
Okay. I mean, I would say that is like head to head with Veronica Cartwright's haircut.
A little pixie cut.
That right there, it's more helmety than a pixie cut.
You know, I prefer her little ponytail look in The Birds.
When she's like 12. Oh my gosh. Veronica, you've been scaring us for ages.
Or her Anchorwoman hair in Tanner 88, the HBO Altman show from the 80s.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Not a horror movie at all,
No.
but
I'm not even sure if it's like on HBO Max. It was an HBO show, but I think Criterion now has the rights to it. If anybody out there is wanting to check it out.
look into if you're wanting to go on a Veronica Cartwright journey.
Tanner 88.
Okay, so the team starts kind of up in their game because now it's at least big enough that it's and Parker kind of sees it climb back up into the holding cell, and it like coils up and it
pulls itself back up really fast. It's
so
creepy.
he sees like, holy shit, that thing got big. And he tells the team, and the team's like, okay, well, now we're going to get these, like, cattle prods. They're not cattle prods, but I don't know what they're called.
I think they even say they're like cattle prods. I think that word is used in the movie.
But it's like, I don't know what they're supposed to be at this point in the future, but...
And they decide to go, like, in the air ducts and look around, and Dallas is kind of the guinea pig. He goes in first. Veronica Cartwright is on the monitor checking, like, the radar.
Yeah, they have, like, a
little
motion.
dot, motion sensor.
And that is another reason why they're trying to catch the damn cat, because the cat keeps setting off the motion sensor. And so whenever they all love the cat, so they don't want to like fire up the flamethrowers that they have and incinerate the little feline. But
and this is a really great moment of tension because at one point there's only one dot, then there becomes two dots, and you're worried about that when he's down there. And Veronica Cartwright's character, what's her name? Lambert, is watching the screen. You're kind of dreading, and you kind of know something's going to happen.
And it's moving super, super, super fast.
And then all of a sudden there's a second dot, and she's like, it's coming right at you, Dallas, get out of there. And he thinks he's getting out of there. He starts descending a few levels. But the thing is, I guess this doesn't show like a 3D image. So he goes down, but it's still coming right at him. The alien itself was a few levels down.
Yes.
Just coming in the same direction. It's like he should have gone up or gone a different way, because the alien was coming that way probably to go up to him. And he met him in the middle, and you get that really great jazz hand alien xenomorph
It is
shot.
the jazz hand,
But it's a great jump scene, so I don't care how silly it is. That shot still works. And it's really on maybe like second viewing that you see how kind of silly it is. It's like the person in the suit, but it's still a really great scare, and the build up to that scare is really intense. And he doesn't even have time. Dallas even has the flamethrower, and he doesn't even have time to trigger it.
No, well, because he's descending down, and it's
he doesn't
coming.
Have time to re-grip
turn
and
around and point it downward. No, it is very suspenseful, and you feel terrible for him because and also because only one person can be in the air shaft,
and
so
everybody knows what it means when all of a sudden his dot is gone.
Yeah, like when he's not
and
moving
he's not
anymore.
on the radio anymore.
Oh.
And again, Lambert she seems to be the most emotional, not in a bad way either, but she's really like, she's understanding the severity of it. Where maybe some of the other characters are still a little in denial, or still in their machismo about it. Like, well, we're gonna fuck it up. Even Ripley is in that machismo, kind of like, we gotta get it, fuck it up, get it out of here. Veronica Cartwright's like, we're just all gonna die. This thing is, we can't beat it, guys. You know.
Well, maybe because like she has a little bit of remorse at the fact that they shouldn't have brought it on the ship anyways, and she was somebody in the airlock that was like, open the fucking door, Ripley. Yeah. And now she's like, oh shit. Yep. Maybe if I had been on her side in the airlock and said, hey, Dallas, we don't need to bring him in, we wouldn't be in this situation. Yep.
You're right.
And so I think
you're so fucking right, Justine.
I do think that she's having like those moments of regret of like, I could have prevented this. And they're all smart people. I don't think that like any of that, like,
they were just trying to take care of their friend. They didn't want their friend to die out there.
But I do think that there is one person along the way who knew exactly.
And his name is Ash. And he's just, for a lot of the movie, when he's not making these executive decisions, he's kind of just standing back, letting everything happen, trying to persuade people to do the wrong thing.
Yeah, and to like always preserve the animal at all costs, or the creature that they are.
And that's something that Ripley's gonna read and find out very soon.
Yeah, So obviously, if Dallas is gone now,
she's in charge,
and so she gets one last. She tries to have one more conversation with
Mother.
Ash.
Oh, with Ash.
And he tells her, I don't have anything to say to you. And she's like, you know what? Fuck you, because now I get to talk to Mother, and I'm gonna. She goes to the light bright room.
Yeah, she's in the light bright room.
And Mother at first won't tell her anything. And she's like, you know what? People have died. I'm gonna use the override code. So you have to tell me, which I didn't really understand this, because I was like, okay, why didn't Dallas just say that? Like, I'm the captain.
Maybe like in their politics or something. That's like something you really don't do.
But she was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, she's like, there's a lot of dead people now. I'm going to override it.
She gets... the message says that this is a message only for the science officer. So it's only for Ash's eyes. But now, because she used the override, she gets to see it. And she finds out that the people back home have instructed Ash to only bring the alien back. They don't care about...
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily say only bring him back.
Well, they say the crew's expendable.
It says the alien is the most important thing. Crew is expendable. Like, get the alien home. We don't care what happens to the crew. If they live, they live. They die, they die. Get the alien home.
Well, that pisses her off.
It doesn't go over well with Ripley. She doesn't really take it that well, nor should she. And she goes and confronts Ash again. And this is where it kind of comes to a head. You know, they get violent with each other. We find out during this epic fight that she kind of like hits Ash, and instead of him bleeding, he has like
blood,
semen come out of his forehead.
He has like a milky kind of substance that comes out of him.
It's mother's milk.
Yeah,
so she finds that strange.
But they're still fighting. There's still
like
a battle
ripping
going on.
hair out of her head. Like it's a drag down.
Shoves a newspaper that he finds, or magazine. He rolls it up and he tries to shove it down her throat like he wants to suffocate her.
A lot of force. And then Parker and Lambert, I guess, hear the struggle, and they come in and they start trying to get him off of her, and they're fighting, and they're realizing how strong Ash is. And finally, one of them takes
a fire
extinguisher. Yeah, that is what it is. And hits him in the head and like knocks his head off. But we see all these wires, and a lot of that pussy semen, mother's milk starts.
Pussy semen. At first, I thought you were gonna say pussy semen.
No.
Or that's like what it was.
That's vulgar.
Now that is vulgar. But pussy semen with wires and these weird air balloon things. It's
really weird. Yeah, they're almost like butt plugs.
They're like oh my god, he's a robot. He's an android, and they put him kind of put him back. Not, they don't put him back
They're
together.
like, he
but
can
they,
maybe give us some answers. So they kind of hot wire him.
They reanimate
Yeah,
him.
they hot wire his
Yeah.
head because at this point he's like, his body's fucked up and his head is on the table, barely connected to his body through all those wires. And so they hot wire him back alive, and they're like, talk to us.
Yeah, he tells them everything that he should have told them from the beginning, but that, like, this creature is
The perfect weapon.
an apex predator.
Yeah.
Like, you are not gonna, the chances of you surviving are slim to none. You can't adapt as quickly as it can, scientifically, organically. Everything is
Spiritually.
Do you think that the xenomorph has like a spiritual essence and is like praise to a xeno god? And
Yeah, he might.
but yeah, so he's like, sorry, you're all gonna die. And now we get the last half of the movie, or the last third of the movie.
And so when they leave Ash, they're like, fuck you, dude. They like blowtorch his head.
I do love the flamethrower in this
Yeah, I do
movie.
too.
There's like, its usefulness
you know what?
in a.
I'm going to say something
Okay.
kind of controversial.
Shit.
I just love a flamethrower in any movie. Give me a fucking flamethrower in all movies, please.
Yeah, it's never disappointed at all.
I mean, come on.
Isn't there a flamethrower like in
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh my god,
The ultimate
yes!
flamethrower scene. Like, I just love a good flamethrower in a movie. God, I mean, can't you see all Disney movies with like flamethrowers?
Yeah, I don't know how long the villain would last in a
That's true.
Disney movie
Give
with
Snow
a
White a
flamethrower.
fucking flamethrower and that witch. She can't say nothing.
She shows up at the window and she's just like, you evil bitch.
I'm gonna bake that apple, bitch.
When flamethrowers are just so like, okay, I mean, like, there's like, you're hot, like you're at least third degree
It's just
burned.
really badass, and it's not like a gun, you know.
Yes, yeah. It's a good way
It's like
to
the ultimate firepower.
get your point across to incinerate someone. But yeah, they give a final fuck you to Ash for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so they've found out everything they can, and the only thing that's left to do
blow up the
is
ship.
to self-destruct the ship. So they say, okay, it's just the three of us. Let's get the cat and the coolant systems
And meet back.
and meet back here. So Sigourney or Ripley is like, I'll find the cat.
And this is the plan, but you know, we've learned in this movie the plan doesn't always go as planned.
Something's always got to
got
do with
something.
something, and the plan
doesn't always
doesn't
go as planned.
go as planned. It's just what we have.
Through this podcast, we've come to some startling realizations and revelations
Would
about
you
life.
say we've deduced it?
we have deduced. We have learned
Drop
that
deduce.
something has to do with something, and that plans are not always as planned.
They're
Don't
not.
always go as planned.
They're not gonna go as planned. Chances are you should have changed plans.
Sometimes the simple truths are the most profound.
Damn. Wow, that
So,
was
wow.
prophetic.
Just call me. I don't know. Call me something.
Reverend Josh, Dr. Reverend
Maybe
Josh.
I could be one of
Dr.
those like
Reverend Josh.
bullshit gurus, like who's the guy that's like wears all the jewelry, but it's like the self-help guru.
Oh yeah.
Tupac.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Tupac.
The Tupac. We're not going to try to
Tupac
mispronounce
Copra
his
or
name or
whatever.
anything, but if you know,
That guy's full of shit.
Tupac.
Tupac. Okay.
Okay,
Well, I'm just gonna say Lambert and Parker don't make it back to this meeting.
No, they both and they're
Oh.
they're cornered by the alien, and he's double the size he was the last time that we saw him, and he does that floating thing in this
it's so
scene.
creepy. And he's going first for Lambert, and then Parker tries to be a good guy and help her out, and it turns around and gets Parker first, and then Lambert, you're just like, run, girl, but she's like frozen in fear, or she's survivor's guilt. Maybe she's like, just take me.
Yeah, and also there, like, you see that snake tail kind of wrap around her and
It
everything.
like goes
and
up her cooter.
It does, or I mean, I don't know if it does.
Cups her balls.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought Lambert was actually like balls and cooter.
Yeah.
and Alien.
Balls, Cooter, and an
She's
alien.
Mother now.
She is the universe.
Veronica Cartwright is way more than Cart wrong.
She is the universe.
She's Cart Universe.
Oh gosh.
I love Sigourney Weaver in this movie, but for some reason I really love Veronica.
Veronica. It's like the Elvis Costello song.
Veronique.
Veronica. Or Veronique. Yeah, we love her so much we call her Veronique.
Veronique. Okay, so while Parker and Lambert are dying,
getting killed.
Ripley is literally hearing it over the intercom.
Well, there's also that scary shot before he goes, I think gets Lambert and stuff, or maybe it's after, where you see the alien looking at poor Jonesy, what Jones is in like this little cat crate.
That's after, yeah. That's
It's
like,
after,
she
yeah.
goes and she sets the self-destruct off, and she sets the cat down because she can't get up everything to go try to turn it off. So she leaves the cat sitting there, and then the alien comes up, and it's just like looking at the cat carrier.
And you're like, no, Jonesy! But then he leaves Jonesy alone because she later comes back and finds him and grabs the case. You're like, okay, good.
Oh, thank God. And I do love how she decides to self-destruct and then just
Has a change of heart.
Yeah. But everybody's still dead, so I don't really know why she decides to do it. And a part of me wants to say it's addressed in the director's cut.
Yeah, how she sees the ship.
Yeah,
is
how
kind
it's
of forming, like the xenomorph.
Because in the director's cut, she goes
But
down
I don't
a
get why
corridor.
that would give her a change of heart, want to keep it alive, though.
Exactly, because she finds that it's Dallas that's up there, and he's getting melded into the machinery. He's becoming organically like.
Yeah.
It's melded into.
Anyway, she has a change of heart.
But that's not. They don't ever address it.
But she doesn't. She has that change of heart a little too late. And
Yeah,
she doesn't. So she has like 5 minutes to get out of there.
She grabs the cat because, like, for sure the ship is gonna self-destruct. It tells her like you were too late to try to turn me off, and she has to get into that little shuttle and leave before it creates like because we do. I like this scene that we get to see the self-destruct from afar.
Yes,
because
she's looking like in the rearview mirror, basically.
and it has that gamma ray pulse that like it blows up and it kind of pushes her, it throttles her, but then 2 seconds later it has another like an afterburst.
Explosion like pushes her.
It's really cool.
Out, yeah.
She even sells it in the chair, like how painful it might be to have to go through it.
And then she's like, I guess I'll get comfortable. I'm like, strip down to my panties.
Show my butt crack.
Show my butt crack. Maybe scratch it a time or two. Sniff my finger after. Make sure it's clean. And then,
Maybe
she's
she
gonna
lets
take a
Jonesy-
sedative and go sleep till I get home.
And she gets the cat in the
Yeah, she puts the
air.
cat in a little pod. And
What I love is she going to sleep with the cat in the AirPod? Does the AirPod know to
sleep
put both
with the
of them
animals. Yeah, it
asleep?
sure does.
Is
It can.
there's just something about that that's
Justine,
not
it's
addressed.
the future. Okay, it's the future. Just go with it.
The cat does. I love how there is even a cat in space.
Yeah.
That's just to humanize the whole circumstance. I think is you put a cat in it.
And it also has something like that she's got to get.
Yeah, she
makes
does
her
love
more
Jonesy.
human. It adds, more tension. No one wants to see a cute little cat get killed by an alien.
No, it's just like when you got a dog on screen, they're there for a purpose. They motivate that final whoever to either kick some ass or save the day, or
But Ripley's not. She doesn't get to enjoy her butt crack being out for too long because here comes the xenomorph.
Well, he doesn't come. He's just there.
He's taking like a little sleepy little nappy poo.
Why is he high? Like I
I've
guess
read
because
that he's probably growing. He's also. He's fed on a bunch of people. He's tired.
sleepy, and
He's
so he's just
sleepy.
trying to hide so she won't. And he fits right in with all the machinery.
Oh, guys, we're gonna have to do our embarrassing ritual that you catch us do sometimes.
Oh, well, that's good. We'll stop right here then as we cross the Red River.
Goodbye, Oklahoma.
Bye, Oklahoma. We love you so much.
We'll see you later. Hello, Texas.
Hello, Texas.
Take good care of us. We love you,
Entered
boo.
into your anal.
We're
Here
gonna-
we come.
Let's have a good day here.
Let's have a great day in Texas.
All right, back to Alien.
Okay, we just always have to give a greetings to whatever state and a goodbye
Ask
to
them to.
hello and goodbyes and goodbye and hellos.
Yeah, it's polite. We're not rude.
Oh no, we're from the Midwest. We're the Southwest. That's the thing about being in Oklahoma. You can claim a lot of different regions.
Yeah, we're like the most northern of the South, we're the Southwest.
South of the
we're the
Midwest.
most south of the Midwest. Yeah, we have an identity crisis in Oklahoma.
We do, but we're not in Oklahoma now.
No,
we're in Texas.
Tejas.
Just like Sigourney is gonna be in a lot of fear.
I think Ripley's from Texas.
Ripley?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I think she's from Texas.
Wait, the character Ripley's
the
from
character.
Texas? Oh, okay.
No, I take
was
that back.
thinking Sigourney.
Obviously, Dallas is from Texas. Ripley's probably, I don't know, Florida, California.
Ripley, she's a powerhouse
Oklahoma,
mountain lady.
then.
Maybe
Oklahoma.
she's like from Colorado.
Oh, yeah, Colorado.
Or maybe she's from even like Seattle or.
The hair reads Pacific Northwest.
For sure. I'm going with you. Oregon? Should we go Oregon?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
She's from Portland.
Portland. I love it.
Ripley is from Portland,
Ripley's
guys.
From
We
Portland.
figured it out.
She started her job as a mineral ore contractor back in 20.
She was tired of the rainy season
Yeah.
in Oregon and just
Needed a change of pace, change of scenery.
She wanted to see the universe, the galaxy.
And nothing called her more than ore.
And one day her mother died, and she decided.
Oh my God! Yes.
That this is the change I need. I am going into the
She
space
loved her mother
program.
so much too. They had an amazing relationship.
They had a great bond.
So I could totally see her saying, "Mom, if you're gonna go to the stars, me too."
Well, she asked her mother for a sign. She said, "Mom, show me a sign. If I should go to the star, blink." And
a falling star happened. That's what it was.
She said, "Mama, I'm gonna go mine ore and truck it back and forth."
And you're going to be with me. And she always carried around a cat afterwards because a cat stopped in the middle of the road and she saved it.
The day her mother died. And so... Anyways, well, that's our backstory for Ripley.
We'll think up more of Ripley's baxtory and get to you
later.
On the other side of this podcast. But let's just finish Ripley's story for now.
So the xenomorph, kind of gets stirred. He's stirred in his sleep. He's like, I'm restless. And she's like, oh shit,
there's a xenomorph.
It's on here. So she immediately, runs. She's like, I gotta put some clothes on. This is embarrassing. And she slips into her spacesuit. And she kind of has a plan. I think she immediately is putting it all together in her head.
You can see, and that's always been the case for Ripley. She thinks ahead.
She thinks ahead. And sometimes she waits for signs.
Yes.
But the sign here was, oh shit, there's a xenomorph sleeping. I need to do something about it.
Yeah, the sign was literally the xenomorph there.
Yes.
It didn't even have to be as interpretive as other things that her past were.
No.
This was very much right in front of her.
So she gets in the suit. She gets
a
weapon. She sang a song about her birthday suit. And she gets what is it? It's
It's a 50-cent song, I believe.
No. A torpedo. What is the weapon? She gets
it's like
a
harpoon.
So it's like a harpoon. And she waits for the right moment. She kind of startles and gets the xenomorph to wake. She keeps spraying steam on it.
It's air pressure she's messing with, and it kind of flushes him out. He's like, oh my God, stop!
And then she hits a button that opens the air pod. It just opens like a big
the airlock hatch,
And it sucks him out, but he grabs himself. No, he doesn't grab his dick. He grabs the side of the door so he doesn't go out in the spaceship.
And then this is why she's got her little harpoon
Yeah, she was prepared
for
this. She shoots him and he goes, but then there's another moment of tension because the door shuts, but it shuts on the gun.
Thingy, yeah.
So it's still connected to the
And now
shaft.
he's just out in the middle of space, and
So
for
she
some
gotta blow him up
reason
some more.
he doesn't even need to have a helmet on or anything. He's fine out in space, in the vacuum of space. He's just like, here I am floating. Oh, in fact, I'm gonna try to get into one of your thrusters and
Probably climb back in, but she sets the thruster off.
Yeah.
And he gets burnt.
He gets burnt to a motherfucking crisp.
And this is the original origin story for Freddy Krueger.
And then my God!
And then he moved, after he got burned.
Floated down into
Floated
Earth.
down to Earth. Moved to Springfield and became a janitor. And murdered children because it just, it's still in his nature.
right,
to kill.
to just kill. And then when those people got upset, they burned him to a crisp, and then that's how he looked all
That's
fleshy.
right. And then he got even worse burned.
He's just burned.
He's
so
just like burned.
your connection to Freddy
He's been
Krueger
burned twice.
was burning.
It's almost like
Wicker Man.
the
We could just keep doing
the
this.
double cooked potatoes, where you cook it, then you take it out and you scoop it.
Oh my God, those
And
pommes frites.
And add like cheese and stuff
Yes.
and put it back. The twice baked potatoes. He's like a twice baked xenomorph.
Oh,
Freddy
yes.
Krueger.
But he lost his tail.
He's Freddy Krueger.
He's Freddy Krueger, and he
That's it.
slash.
Well, Ripley saves the day. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to snuggle up with my cat and go sleep. That's all I care to do. And I'm going to write a little journal entry first about how my friends died. Maybe I'll listen to some Carpenters and get sad and cry.
She's all like, I'm the last survivor of the Nostromo. It's just me and my pussy.
She's like,
this cat.
She's like, I'm in the Stro-ho.
Oh, look at you. Now you're
I'm
calling
in the
her
Stro-mo.
derogatory names.
All right, guys. Well, we're getting close to Aurora, and we haven't even set our direction, so we might need to figure out how to get where we're going.
Yeah, and we're just going to have to get back to you guys later.
All right, we'll see you. Stay tuned. We'll be back in like 10 seconds.
Bye.
Hey guys, we're back.
Hello, hello.
We are now leaving Aurora, Texas. We just saw the gravestone of an alien named Ned, and we ate some In-N-Out.
Oh my God. Okay, so we got the double. We got the
Animal style
fries. They were so good. I got grilled onions on all my shit.
What's nice is on the way there today, we passed the In-N-Out going directly to the Aurora Cemetery. So you exit I-35, kind of, if anybody is familiar with North Texas, at the Dallas Motor Speedway. And then we went up maybe just 10 miles up to the cemetery. So it really wasn't that long of a drive for us today. We have about 2.5 hours ahead of us now to get home. And
full bellies.
So the In-N-Out along the way was just like a perfect surprise. We're like, oh, we know where we're eating on our way back.
Yeah. So
I still say, Justine, and people who know or who are from around this area know, Brahms is greater than In-N-Out.
yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, if you're from Oklahoma or you know or around us, like regionally,
I think there's some like they're scattered also like in Kansas and Texas and Arkansas, I believe.
That's an Oklahoma family-owned business,
Brahms.
baby. Yeah, ice cream and dairy store.
But it was a pleasant surprise getting to have In-N-Out today.
Yeah.
But let's get to the cemetery.
Yeah, we got to the cemetery. It's quaint and it's quiet and it's give me another cue.
I guess it's kind of a historical cemetery. There's some like old generals buried there. There was like some historic baby. I didn't feel like I'll read we took a lot of pictures of like historical markers and stuff. I'm like, I'll read them later.
Yeah.
We were there for Ned.
We want to, and it's just a rock that's been kind of decorated with like little trinkets and
the headstone
figures.
it was obvious had been stolen.
Yes.
Because I think the rock that's still there was the base, and then there was the rock that was going vertical. That was going, and that one has been taken.
It's all gone.
The marker, there's still a marker there to find Ned if you go to the Aurora Cemetery. And we paid our respects. We said hello, Ned, and we didn't leave anything. There were a lot of little trinkets there. Someone had left like a little UFO guy.
Yeah, and
all
other
kinds
people,
of things.
yeah,
Flowers.
Acknowledgements.
People had written all over the rock, like R.I.P. Ned. And so I wonder if there's really a little alien buried down there.
Perhaps. So that's what I was thinking when I was standing there. I was just like having a quiet moment, me and Ned, thinking down there, like, is there really an alien down there? That would be so awesome.
Because obviously there's two camps of thought, that there is and that there isn't. But the people that say there isn't specifically point out that it was kind of a way to get people into the town.
Yeah,
because
a
I guess they
notoriety.
Aurora was kind of struggling in the late 19th century, and they're like, hey, why don't we say there's aliens here? And I think that was also starting to get popularized, like science fiction. Gosh, I know I'm probably not in the right dates, but I think like H.G. Wells, all that. So I think it was in the zeitgeist, or starting to, and people might have had just taken an opportunity to get some people wrangled into their town.
Yeah, gotta draw attention. There's
Or
gotta
damn
be a
it,
spectacle, or
a cigar,
an alien showed
or a
up.
cigar-shaped UFO crashed in Aurora, Texas, and the people gave him a Christian burial.
And there's an alien buried there. Yeah.
And there's also reports too that maybe he was put in that well, but I think consensus is the grave marker is where he's buried.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was a fun video we were able to find on YouTube, but it's of
old episode of UFO Hunters.
Yeah, UFO Hunters, little mysteries
from the early 2010s.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was from. I kind of remember watching that show and that episode. That's kind of how we thought of this idea, was that we have seen it on the Travel Channel, History Channel. We love ufology and anything
we know
paranormal.
Of a place. Oh God, we just knew we had to get there.
We had to get there. We want to see it for ourselves. Damn it.
Mm-hmm.
There's plans down the road for some of the sequels. Maybe we want to do a Roswell trip. We've been there before together, and we'd like to go back.
Museum.
It's been a while, so we'll do that someday for maybe one of the sequels. But let's get into the movie. Let's wrap up Alien.
Let's talk Ridley Scott. Let's talk Ripley Scott.
One thing I really love about this movie is the time and the money they put towards this movie. It's not some, I don't want to use the word campy, that word's overused, but some low budget, silly sci-fi movie about an alien. It's not some B movie, monster movie.
No, this is investment right here. Like, this is...
And that kind of got to happen because of Star Wars. They said that something I read or watched was talking about how basically this movie got made because it was one of the only sci-fi scripts that... Is this a Universal picture? I forget what studio it is, but that was kind of like the only sci-fi movie that they had under contract or had paid for, and they're like, all right, well, let's make that. Star Wars a hit. We have this movie about aliens. It's in space. Let's make it. And luckily, they put a lot of money towards it, and they got... It was also originally going to be a Roger Corman
it's 20th
movie.
century.
Yeah, and then 20th Century Fox got involved. They decided to throw a lot more money at it. Ridley Scott talked about how 2001 Space Odyssey was something that he looked to for this movie, because that was also a sci-fi movie that a lot of money was given to make it good, make it what it
quality,
could be.
And it's like even the the little shots of the miniatures, like the spacecrafts, and just seeing how kind of epic and large he was making the universe seem, the planets, they looked real.
Every nook and cranny looks real.
Yeah, and it's not heavily CGI'd like we see a lot of films today.
There's probably no CGI.
There was practical at every
it was
turn.
Yeah, because
a lot of animated, like animatronics and
a lot of matte paintings and miniatures and guys in alien suits.
I was gonna say, like, there's that
puppetry.
classic picture of oh my gosh, what's his name, in the xenomorph suit.
Oh, the actor, he's very tall and thin.
And
I can't think of his name either, but that is kind of a classic behind the scenes picture that I always see on Instagram kind of floating around. Yeah, I can't remember
his name starts with a B.
We should have been prepared. That's okay. Anyways.
Okay.
Him in that suit, even though we make fun of the jazz hands, there is an organic sensibility about it. Same with
seems
the
real.
puppets. And I love that weird, and it's obviously kind of like a puppet animatronic shot of the xenomorph kind of gliding towards her.
Yeah,
but there's something
almost
really surreal and scary about that moment too.
Yeah, it
works.
It's phenomenal in a way. Like, it's very just like
fantastic.
Yes, like
paranormal almost.
It's a little scary. It looks a little floaty, almost like it's a ghost, but it's not. It's an alien.
And he's
it's
just
coming
like,
towards you.
I'm coming for you, Veronica
Oh
Cartwright.
my gosh. Okay. Also, just everything else. The eggs, the spacecraft, everything looks so...
It really is a gorgeous movie. It's a movie I love to watch. of course, the sequel is great, and it's different. It's more of an action horror. This is kind of straight up old school ghost movie, also monster movie.
Yeah,
it
the
plays
jump
like a
scares
haunted
and-
house movie. You know, it's even got the dark, almost like cellar-like scenes, but instead it's like chains, and you're in an industrial part of the ship.
Yeah, they're like in the holding part with all of their spacecraft.
And the alien
ones.
haunts the ship in a way. But yeah, it's also, of course, a monster movie. But I like how there's a gothic quality to the original that really plays like an old horror movie set in space. And thanks, really, Scott and Dan O'Bannon.
And things aren't too colorful. There's a certain grittiness to it, and it kind of like lends itself to the idea of them being like, you know, they're not searching space to learn. They're going to pick up mineral ore.
They're trying to make
Like
money.
it's industrial. It's just
honest
another
work
it's
in the
another way
future.
to get a job and to make some money. And they keep bringing it up with the shares and the fact that they don't want to necessarily bring the alien on the ship or even check out the sounds, the SOS that they receive, because is it in their is it in their best interest? Are they going to make money off of it?
Yeah,
so you get the idea that these people are not there for the sake of science.
Yeah, they're not there just to be like noble characters.
Yeah.
They do some things and try to save each other and whatnot that could be deemed noble or heroic, but that's not why they're in space. To them, like, the space isn't an oddity or in the future. You know, it's just another job to these people, and then
it's not really until Ridley takes it back, like
they're working
decades later, that's when it becomes this weird scientific, like the search for life and all that. These are just people.
They're working
the
class astronauts.
Yes,
in a way.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Adds a layer of authenticity.
Yeah, and I appreciate the moments where they have those downtimes around the table, and it like let loose and get to know the characters, because the movie immediately wants you to care for these people.
Yeah, it gives you a sense of place and time.
So you know that they work well together, even in the moments where they're speaking in a hallway and like asking each other, like, well, about Ash, like Ripley's asking Dallas, like, how many times have you even like flown with this guy? Kind of really challenging him in a way that you would only do if that was your team. Like, so it shows that all these characters have a respect for each other, and it's not just an investment of money, but yeah. So I like all those layers, the storytelling.
It's just scary too. It's a great, just scary movie. Damn it! Favorite scenes. Let's talk about it.
Okay, all right. You want to talk favorite scenes? I think it's my turn to go first for favorite scenes.
Of course, the time I'm actually ready to go first. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
no,
wow.
Of course.
Wow. Okay, I'm not going to choose the iconic chest popping scene.
No, that's off the table.
No,
now.
it's we did not discuss that prior. I just kind of decided
I was trying to think of something else too.
One of my favorite scenes, after watching this a few more times, I do look forward to Dallas being in the air ducts.
Ooh.
And because they have the measuring kind of thing that's and that is like paranormal in a way. You know how you'll go into a haunted house and you have those like paranormal like meters.
Yeah.
So they it's like that in a way. They have something that's judging movement and stuff, so you don't always see the alien, but it's headed that way, and you care a lot about Dallas. He tried to save Kane's life. He was trying hard to be a good captain.
And for all intents and purposes, when you first watch this movie, you think he's the main character.
Yes, yeah.
He's the captain. He gets the most screen time at the beginning until Ripley takes over.
Yeah.
After his untimely death in the scene.
And in this one too, when it happens, when they get kind of that canceled out of him, that he's no longer on the radio, and you feel so terrible for them. And there's a sense of loss and lost. Like they're lost in space, and now they've lost like the big guy. And I don't think really necessarily that the other characters look to Ripley as a leader yet. They're gonna have to, but
They
like,
do, like, pretty quickly.
Yeah, but like before then, you know, Veronica Cartwright's like, I'm gonna slap you in the face in the director's cut. Like, it's just, it's, you know, like, you just know that they really cared for him. But that scene, that build up, the music, it's so intense, and he's got his flamethrower. You know, like he's trying. It's an air duct. You know, you can only go so fast, anyways, and it's a countdown, and when he gets killed with jazz hands, it's
sad.
It's sad. So, okay, go
Death
ahead.
by jazz hands.
Death by jazz hands.
My,
what about you?
My favorite scene or moment in the movie, other than chest bursting, of course. By the way, that's what got this movie sold, was that moment in the script.
By the way.
By BT Dubs. I'm going to go with the reveal of Ash as an android.
Ooh, that's a fun one, yeah.
Because there's, one, a good fight scene. It's also really scary because you're realizing, oh, the alien's not the only villain on the ship. Here's this guy who has been malicious. Maybe not even malicious. He's just doing his job. And his job is, who cares about the other people on the ship? Get the alien home.
Yeah. Well, you don't, and you don't want to be I don't want to be the person that just only cares about my job when everyone's dying around me. But,
and I like how it starts off with, something's up. Why is there white stuff coming out of him? And then things get crazy. Heads are getting knocked off. You get the reveal of all the cords on the innards of him. Then you also next get that scene where his head is just detached and they're talking to him. There's also that really scary and good fight scene between Ash and Ripley where he almost gets her. He's like shoving the magazine
yeah, it's
down
attempted
her throat.
murder by like weird suffocation.
All because she's gonna go tell everybody what's going on. He doesn't want everybody to know.
Yeah, that
there
is
might
a
be
good
a
fight
mutiny
scene.
on the, maybe not even a mutiny because she's in charge, but I guess it would be considered so because their mission, unbeknownst to them, is to get the alien back.
Yeah.
But that's my favorite scene. There's a lot of good tension. There's good fighting. It's a really scary moment. I like the reveal. You get like the double villain reveal. It's like, oh, it's not just what's outside of the ship that could harm you. It was what was already in the crew.
Yeah, and I also just honorary mention for me, it's similar to the scene that I chose, but when Veronica Cartwright dies, and so it's like Parker and Lambert, and they're trying to get the
She gets tailed.
Yeah, she gets tailed, but there's, you know, the alien kills 2 people. We see the big reveal of the alien. There's a lot of that movement that we were talking about earlier that happens at that time. But it's, again, you know, Ripley being in another place, overhearing what's happening. You can't do anything about it.
She's running
just
to try to help them.
It's another sad, just like her hearing
She's like,
people
damn,
die.
my crew keeps
and
killed.
Again, that immediate sense of like, okay, now I've lost everybody, and it's just me and Jonesy the cat. So, I just don't. Okay, just bringing up Jonesy the cat really quick. Like, does he really just go in hypersleep?
Yep, he goes
okay,
he's in the sequel, remember?
Yeah, well, no,
She wakes up with him.
I remember that, but it's just like, really? Like, there's no real science behind the hypersleep?
Oh,
you just get in the chamber?
No, there is real science, they just don't explain it to us.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
And so it's not, I'm like, it might not even be real science. But in their world, there's that science.
You could just get in a bed and just go to
sleep. And you won't age.
Yeah.
It's like also like a hyper freezing.
It slows down your heart rate. And
it's so crazy.
It's almost like you're a bear.
Yes.
Okay. Well, wow.
Knife ratings. Is it obvious?
I know.
5 knives.
Yeah, it's not just a classic in the realm of
classic.
it's the classic Alien movie. Yeah. So
there you go.
It gets a 5.
Yeah, we love it. We love it.
Yeah, we love it. Oh my God, Lee! What is Lee doing?
Lee loves it.
Lee, I thought you were like hanging out. It's still Christmas time where you are, isn't it?
It's always Christmas. There's always murder in mayhem.
Ripley's my best friend. Gosh.
Anyways, so Alien, there you go. Aurora, Texas. Go check it out. It's a little oddity if you're ever driving up I-35 West in Texas.
Yeah, it's not.
Get off near the Motor Speedway.
Plan a weekend around it, but definitely if you were already going to be in the area, go see Ned.
If ufology's your thing, then this is like a big deal in ufology. Go see it.
Go see him.
So let's talk about our next episode. Episode 63, we are covering urban legends.
Urban
Legend.
Legends.
It's a French film. Just kidding. We're covering that. We're going to one of Oklahoma's most famous urban legends areas. You want to tell them about it?
Areolas? We're going to Peoria, Oklahoma, right?
And
is that what it's called?
There's like a mysterious
Peoria?
light.
Yeah. Peoria, Oklahoma. We're going to see a floating light.
Mm-hmm.
Urban legend that nobody's been able, I guess, to debunk or to say like, oh, the light for sure is coming from, 2 miles down the road.
And again, we did an episode a long time ago. We did Lord of Illusions, where we went to that Gravity Hill.
Yep.
And it's a lot of states have a similar thing like that. Same with this light. There's phenomenons like this all over, like the Marfa lights, or I've heard of one in North Carolina. There's something about these strange lights. Are they ghosts? Is it some kind of just optical illusion? I don't know. We're going to go. We're going to talk about urban legend, and we'll let you know. I'm a little scared. But
you're already scared. We're going to get scared.
I'm just scary.
Yeah, because we don't know. What if it's like you look at it and it lures you in, and then you're in a trance and you get abducted by an alien? I mean, I don't know.
But guys, in the meantime, go give us that review on iTunes. Go give us that 5-star rating. Go check us out on where are we? We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
We're on all of the social
YouTube.
Medias.
Our YouTube is going to be kind of updated soon. We don't have some past episodes on there. There's a lot of weird technical reasons.
It's fine, child. It's fine.
It'll be updated soon.
Yeah, Scream Queens Podcast.
.com, which is we're also trying to revamp soon. So if you go there, it's a little outdated right now, but it can still give you links to things that
and past episodes. Maybe you want to take a look. We tried to do some blogs of older things and tell you guys about other trips, but okay, we gotta go.
Yeah, bye guys.
We gotta go. See you later.
See ya.